Hello everyone, and welcome as we jive along to this rather awesome beat. I'm tired. I have a slightly bad case of post-nasal drip, so sorry if that sounds bad, but don't worry, I'm perfectly fine because I'm playing Planet Zoo. So, quick explanation. Planet Zoo is the next Planet game, if you will, that has been released by Atari. Or, not Atari, I'm sorry. Fuck Atari. Frontier. I watched my previous videos on why I said that about Atari. By Frontier. This is... So, Planet Coaster is a theme park. Planet Zoo is, well, a zoo. This is using their, the same, well, to some degree, the same engine. This is the updated version of their engine. So we'll be getting to play with that. This is the beta, for quick explanation. So, very few things have been unlocked. The only reason I've got access to it is because I paid an extra fee. I got the special edition. And it's only, the beta is running for 2 weeks, and then it closes down until the official opening of the game, so to give them some time to work in what the beta players have to say, and that such. So, I'm going to go ahead and get right into it. I'm mostly recording this just so you guys get experience of what it's like going directly into it. I haven't seen a whole lot. I know that there's a couple of things, but beyond that, I haven't really seen a whole lot about the new mechanisms in the game. So, this will be a fresh take for you guys. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy it. I will be cross-posting this video, by the way, on my 2 channels, just so it reaches the full amount of people. Mostly because this is, while normally a single-player game, I will be playing some of it with Aladdin, my brother, who is very much into these games. So he will be coming on every once in a while to kind of show what he's done in his parks and that kind of stuff. Sorry, zoos. So, really quickly, as a note, because this is the beta, there is only the scenario and the franchise mode, and that's it. Sandbox is not open. You can see that there's an invalid SSL certificate for the online stuff, so yeah, it's not exactly open yet, per se. But they did include one scenario, which is the stately homeschooling, or Goodwin House. Renovated and renamed after its purchase by Bernard Goodwin in the 1980s, Goodwin House has since become one of the most respected zoos in the country. More recently, it has undergone a further renovation to update many of its habitats and facilities, but due to various issues, the work hasn't been completed. This is where you come in. So, there's no real tutorial in-game yet. I'm hoping that this will work to some degree like that. If not, this is going to be a fun experience. I'm really enjoying the new music that they created for the game. Planet Coaster had some really nice music, and this is very much in the same style. I know you guys can't see it, but I'm just swaying in my seat listening to the music while it loads in. Hey, there we go. Ooh. This is due.
Heyo at Hematu. Yeah. Oh, sorry about that. I have a habit of slipping back into the Planko language. It's good to finally meet you in person. I'm Bernard, although I insist you call me Bernie. The only person who calls me Bernard is my wife. And even then, only when I've tracked elephant dung into the carpets. As you know, I own several zoos, but I always like to show people the ropes here at my home. This is the first zoo I ever opened, and a source of great pride for me. And prides, thanks to a lion breeding program we ran in the 80s. But we're in the middle of a big renovation, and that's where you come in. Sadly, our old contractor had to retire after developing a fur allergy. Poor devil kept sneezing his dentures into the lion habitat. So, it's up to you to finish everything off. Don't worry, though. I'm not completely throwing you in at the deep end. My head keeper, Nancy Jones, will be lending a helping hand. Oh, she's a hard worker, and she'll expect you to be too. But I'm sure you'll get along like a house on fire, or even better, one that isn't on fire. Less shouting that way.
Hello there. From that rosy, fresh face of yours, I'm guessing you're Bernie's new hire. Good. Now, I hope you're ready to ditch your diploma because we're about to get really hands-on. But before we begin the real work, how about we familiarize you with the zoo by learning how to fly around it and visiting some of our beautiful animals? We'll start by popping over and having a look-see at the grizzly bears in their habitat.
Oh, that's new. You can do raise and lower. So, oh, they really go full out on this. So, I'm really happy to see that. So, not so much the fly cam in, like you experienced, but so much the voice acting. That was added in to Planet Coaster under the last DLC that they posted out, which was the Ghostbusters update, where you actually, they had Dan Aykroyd come back and reprise his role as one of the Ghostbusters, along with, I can never remember his name, but the head of the EPA. They came in and did some voice recordings for the game, and they had in-game voice lines, very similar to what you just saw there. The fact that they're throwing that directly in means that we get to experience that probably a lot more than we did in the previous game, which makes me very happy to see, because I thought that that was a very cool thing that they added in. You can see that they really... Yeah. So you can see that they really kind of threw everything together in a very quick thing. So, free look cam. Flashlight is new. I wonder if that only happens at night. That's a new one. This is very similar to what it all was in the previous game, looks like. I'll probably have to relearn all of this later. Terrain stamp. Oh, that's interesting. That's very cool. Conservation credits, there it is. Use renewable energy. Oh, hello. Greet other players' avatars when they enter the zoo. That's new. That's kind of neat. So yeah, this is one of the big things that a lot of us have been looking forward to, which is the weather types. Yeah, here it is. I would assume that this is the tutorial. Cash and conservation credits, helpful hints, donation boxes, placing staff, facilities, work zones. Nice. So they added on. So here's kind of neat. They've added in power setup, which is kind of interesting. Trading animals. Cool. So this is grizzly bear. Where is said grizzly bear?
Did you know that grizzly bears, also known as Ursus arctos horribilis, can hibernate for up to 7 months a year? Oh, but then again, given the chance, I think a lot of people would do that too. Select one of the bears and you'll bring up its information panel.
Ooh. This is
where
pretty.
you can find out all kinds of information about your animal. The most important thing being its overall welfare. You'll learn more about animal welfare today as we go through your objectives. But for now, let's enjoy this magnificent animal. Why don't you select the camera at the bottom of its information panel? See now, this is a fantastic way to get a close look at your animals. You can also get this view of an animal by simply double-clicking on it.
Nice animations.
Okay, when you're ready, let's pop over to the other side of the zoo and take a look at the lions. I've marked their location for you to find.
That's really cool. I like that. West African lion. Have you also marked that as well? Yes, you have. Cool.
Panthera leo leo, or the West African lion to you and me. Lions are the most social of the big cats, and there can be as many as 40 lions in a pride, although prides of that size are pretty rare. As Bernie would say, those lions are awesome. Which is precisely why I handle the training instead these days. Anyway, how about we get started on those objectives? Come on, let's head over to our warthog habitat and see what needs doing there.
No, I'm too busy watching an adorable cat. Hold on. Okay, I now officially have diabetes. We're good to go. Locate the empty habitat. Yes, I would say that is indeed empty.
As you can see, it's a lovely space for warthogs, but it's missing a certain something. Well, two somethings. The warthogs. So I'd like you to adopt a pair of them. To adopt animals, we need to open the animal market, which is in the animal trading section.
Ooh. Ooh,
There we
this
are,
is cool.
a pair of perfectly splendid warthogs for our zoo. Just click on them and select Buy from the side menu. Normally the animal exchange would be full of animals, but I've emptied out the market while you learn how it works. The last thing I need is you accidentally ordering a dozen elephants.
But I like elephants.
When you adopt an animal, it's automatically placed in the trade center, where they're held until you're ready to move them into their habitat, which, as it happens, you are. So how
there it is.
about you move them into their new home? When you ask for an animal to be moved into a habitat, your caretakers will go to the trade center, collect your animal, and deliver them to your selected habitat. I've marked the trade center's location, so let's go and watch the caretakers in action.
Oh, there it is. Well, this is interesting.
Well, as you can see, those caretakers don't hang about. They'll move those animals to their destination as fast as possible.
Oh, it doesn't have an
Of course,
interior
normally
yet.
we'd have to place the animals into quarantine before moving them into a habitat. But I am assured by a person of good standing that these warthogs are in the very rudest of health. Right, let's get the warthog's habitat finished up so we can keep them nice and happy. You see, each animal in the zoo has an overall welfare statistic, basically how happy they are. And that overall welfare statistic is itself comprised of 4 different areas: nutrition, social health, habitat, and enrichment. Luckily, if you select an animal, you'll bring up their animal welfare information panel, which we saw earlier, where you can see how they're doing. That way, you'll know exactly what areas need to be addressed. Don't worry if that's a lot to remember. You can always check the Zoopedia for more information. Let's start by making sure we're taking care of the warthog's nutrition welfare. To do this, we'll need to place a food station and a drinking station. Now, each animal requires a different type of feeding station. And for the warthogs, it's a small feeding trough. So let's add one of those and a water bowl.
I wouldn't normally classify that as a trough, but okay.
Animals also require stimulation to keep them happy. Let's add a lovely mud bath for the warthogs to roll around in. That bath will count towards their enrichment welfare, specifically their toy enrichment welfare.
Ah, here it is. Now I'm gonna wait for to places to really quickly make a comment. The something that I've noticed really quickly, I don't know if you guys noticed, the animation glitched out for the caretakers when they were moving the warthogs around. That might just be because of the early access. At least I really hope that's the case. But I appreciate the fact that they did the very
Nice
planet
work. You've got a knack for
kind of
this, I see.
system of
Now,
it being a tiny
our
crate that they
contractor
just
had to
throw
leave
it
in
and
a
it just
hurry, so this place is in a
goes
feral
crazy.
state. Unfinished thingamajigs and whatsits all over the shop. But the first thing we need to finish is the ostrich habitat. It's over near the hippos.
That we never saw the hippos? Here it is.
Okay, job number 1 here is to add a habitat gate before we complete the barrier. Every habitat needs a habitat gate. After all, how else would the keepers get in and out? Just make sure it's hooked up to the path so the keepers can reach it.
Fine.
Right, let's complete the perimeter barrier so we can adopt us some ostriches. I've marked out an area for you to use, so I'd like you to finish off the perimeter using the brick barrier.
Ooh, it's node-based. Thank you, camera, for being as stupid as always.
Good work. Remember, before you can
Sure,
place
any
animals in any
animations.
habitat, it has
It
to have a
does.
full loop of connected barrier.
Interesting.
Now, you've probably noticed that guests can't actually see into this habitat at the moment. At least not without a stepladder. But seeing as they're banned, I'd like you to select a piece of barrier and swap out the brick for a glass barrier so the guests can see in. There we go. Adding in more windows gives guests even more opportunities to see the animals in a habitat. It's always best to make sure the guests can get a good view into a habitat from the path they're walking on, because it makes them happy, and because this would be a pretty terrible zoo if they couldn't.
No, it'd be a
The
rehabilitation
last thing
center.
we need to do is to add a donation box. You see, when guests enjoy the view of an animal, they'll make a donation. Just make sure you put them in easy-to-reach places, like near a viewing point. Donation boxes are one of the main sources of income for the zoo, so make sure you remember them.
I'm glad they mentioned that it is
All
one
right,
of their big sources
you've
of
finished the
income.
habitat, so it's high time we adopted those ostriches, don't you think? Let's get 4 of them in here.
I have no clue what this means, but okay. Oh, there we go. Oh, she wanted all 4. Okay, oops.
While we wait for them to be
There we go.
collected by the caretakers and brought to the
My bad.
habitat, you should get it ready for them. Add a suitable feeding station, water station, and an appropriate food enrichment item. It's often best to place things like enrichments and feeding stations near to the habitat perimeter, so guests can get a really good view of the animals.
Okay, thank you. Yay!
Oh, good to see the ostriches have somewhere they can really stretch their legs. Did you know they can actually run at 43 miles per hour? Oh, heaven forbid
I think
they
I
ever
knew that,
escape.
actually.
The speed camera fines alone would bankrupt us.
You done? Thank you.
Well, Bernie certainly seems impressed. Did he do his speed camera joke? Every time we get an ostrich. So,
Yeah.
now we've made the ostriches' lives a bit better, let's do the same for the keepers, shall we? To make it easier for the keepers to feed the ostriches and hippos, we should build a new keeper hut. Keeper huts are where the keepers prepare the food for animals, so they should be placed near to the habitats to make sure the keepers don't waste their time walking when they should be looking after the animals.
Thank you. So this is the kind of new, neat thing. What's the difference between these? Is that, if I'm correct?
This keeper hut only has space for one keeper, but the larger keeper hut can allow multiple keepers to prepare food at the same time. Oh,
Yeah, here it is.
but bear in mind that keeper huts and other staff facilities shouldn't be placed near to areas where there are lots of guests. Guests don't like seeing facility buildings, and it can affect their happiness. Negatively. In case that wasn't clear.
So,
Something
this
that
is on
all
this kind of...
facilities, shops, and a whole
Shush!
host of other objects need is power, and that obviously includes your newly built keeper hut. So let's place a transformer next to it, shall we?
Thank you. So this is something new, is actually having the interiors of buildings. And they do actually have animations when they come in here, which I think is really nice. I'm quite happy to see that.
Now,
So-
the reason everything has gone blue is because you're using the power heat map. This map allows you to see what is and what isn't powered in your zoo. So, once you've placed your transformer, you can click in the bottom left to turn the heat map off.
The fuck you mean it's an invalid rotation? Oh, you do actually need to have access to it by the way.
Lovely work. Now the keepers can start using the hut to prepare food, and thanks to where you've put it, they won't need to walk very far to deliver it to the ostriches and hippos. Let's get on to your next objective then.
Ooh. Numbers that-
Bengal tigers. We want to adopt some, but I'm afraid there's nothing ready for them yet. Head on over to the plot of land I've marked out. It's not too far away.
You're delivering 0 volts. How are you powering anything? Excuse me. Small problem.
Right,
Oh, wow.
your next job is to build a habitat. From scratch. And
She
wood
really
and
wasn't kidding.
concrete, I expect. So go ahead and build it. And don't forget the habitat gate. It's always best to place the habitat gate close to the keeper hut. As it happens, there's one quite near to the trade center.
Oh,
Oh, and make sure the guests will be able to see the tigers.
hush. I can't just do that. Cool. Camera, why? Yeah. I don't know what I just did. I think I might have accidentally moved the entirety of that fence. Okie dokie. There we go. Don't know what in the world I did there, but ooh, okay. Can I not do like just a straight? I can't. Well, that's an interesting choice. That should work, right? Oh, really? Fine.
Now, Bernie takes safety very seriously at his zoos, so we should probably make sure those tigers can't jump out of their habitat, don't you think? The way we'll do it is by changing the height of the habitat's barrier.
Ooh.
Okay then, you should start by double-clicking the habitat barrier, which will take you into barrier editing mode. Great. Now highlight the entire perimeter of the habitat. You can do that by clicking and dragging the barrier selection tool. Now you've got all of the perimeter selected, you can increase the height of it by clicking and dragging the barrier height tool upwards. You'll want to make sure it reaches a minimum height of 4 meters. Okay, that's the habitat boundary complete, the habitat gate in place, and most importantly, the tigers won't be able to jump out of it anymore. I think it's time we adopted those tigers. Whilst our trusty caretakers collect and deliver the tigers, let's take a look at preparing the habitat for their arrival. We'll start with the basics. Add a suitable feeding station for them. This time, instead of adding a water bowl, let's try something different. Some animals need a pool in their habitat so they can go for a swim, but they can also use it to drink from. All you have to do is make sure the banks of the pool have a gentle slope so they can easily get a nice, refreshing drink. There's already a pool excavated, but you still need to fill it with water. You should do that by going into Terrain and selecting the water tool. Yes, that'll do nicely. Of course, just like the warthogs and ostriches, these tigers will also need some enrichment. Why don't you add some suitable toy and food enrichment items into their habitat?
Interesting. Ooh, we've got a choice here.
Okay, it's really starting to take shape. Now, the tigers will need a shelter in their habitat, so they can hide from the guests, or more likely, the bad weather. Although, given that we're in England, you might want to think of that just as normal weather.
Ah, I wonder.
Go on, add a shelter to their habitat.
So I do mention that.
You can either build one from various suitable bits and bobs, or if you like, just pop down the blueprint that I've already built for you.
Ooh. I fancy that. I can't really put it there. That sucks.
Oh, poor Dabs. I'm sure it can't have escaped your attention that the tigers look a bit miffed. That's because they aren't too keen on the type of terrain in their habitat. Select a tiger and bring up its information panel. Rightio. Click on the Terrain tab. That way you can view the terrain information and see how they feel about the different types of terrain. That'll tell you what the tigers need more of or less of in this habitat.
More soil.
Okay then, open the Terrain editing tool, select Painting, and give them some more soil. Yes, that should help with the habitat part of their welfare.
Oh god, that's really big. Hold on.
Right then, all animals need plants and trees from their own biome or continent. You know, deserts, savannas, Eurasia, Europe, that sort of thing. It looks like these tigers need a few more plants in their habitat. To get a perfect fit, use plants from the rainforest and temperate biomes that are native to Asia. Although if you have to, you can get away with using just one or the other. The tigers will also want a certain amount of their habitat to be covered by those plants. To find out which plants to use and how many, select a tiger and go to the Environment tab. Now, as you can see, some of the plants currently in the habitat aren't quite right for the tiger, like the wattle bushes. You can remove them if you want. You can find all of the plants you need in the nature section, and you can use the filters to only show the types of plants you want to see. In this case, that's plants from the rainforest or temperate biomes.
I can do that? Hold on. Really a hell of a lot of shade, per se. Trying to make sure that they've got some privacy in their habitat. That's gonna trip me up badly. It still has that thorn of geisha that I'll have to get rid of. Oh wait, no. There's still a hookthorn. Hookthorn. Jesus, I can speak. Where is that? Nah, I'd be surprised. Ah, here it is. Ah, much better. Interesting. Oh, I see now why that's popping up. Hold on. Constant Asia. Ah, there we go. Okay. Ah, not enough. Banana palm. I didn't see a banana palm. Oh, here it is. Hey, there we go. How much did it want? Oh, increase plant welfare up to 90. Okay. Oh, oops. Oh, that's nice. It actually registers it as being a part of the habitat. There we go.
They say that good fences make good neighbors. I guess that's doubly true when one of the neighbors is a Bengal tiger. Still, those
Done.
tigers look so happy that I doubt they'd leave. Even if you did poke a hole in their fence. Oh, but for heaven's sake, don't test that theory.
Aw, damn it.
Right, let's head over to the Indian peafowls. I've been told that we need to improve their social welfare.
Okay, what? Freezes up a fair bit when you select stuff. Again, probably just the fact that it's early beta, but still.
Now then,
Ooh.
just find one of the peafowls and select them to open their information panel. Then we can have a good gander at how they're doing. Although technically, I suppose gandering would just be for geese. Expand their social welfare, and we can get a bit more detail.
Really?
Now, they've clearly got plenty of space, and they're not stressed, but it looks like their social group isn't quite right. So let's find out more. Click on the social tab at the top of their information panel to see what's wrong. Right, as you can see, the peafowls need their population to be larger. To solve this little problem, you'll need to adopt 3 more female peafowls. Well, off you pop to the animal market.
Saying it like that just makes me feel really dirty of doing it. I'm sorry, but...
Good work on
Like-
those peafowls. I expect they'll be delivered soon. But sadly, it sounds like our snow leopard is a bit grumpy. Let's head over there and see what's wrong with her.
Hello? Knock,
Just
knock.
like people, animals can suffer from stress if things aren't quite right. You know, like when you see someone put in the milk before the tea bag. In the case of these snow
Nice.
leopards, they're a bit stressed by their lack of privacy. You can lower their stress levels
no.
by swapping out the normal glass barriers for one-way glass. It's not a cheap option, but I think they're worth the expense, don't you? This will give the snow leopards somewhere to go when they want to get away from the prying eyes of the guests.
Oh, wait, no, it's like a barrier. Wait, hold on. What is it? Oh! Oh, I'm a right fucking idiot. Sorry I keep cursing.
Of course, when an animal isn't in its natural biome, it's probably going to be too hot or too cold. Unsurprisingly for the snow leopards, it's too hot. Even with the terrible British weather. You should help cool it down by adding some coolers to their habitat. But let's start by opening up the temperature heat map and having a look-see at the temperature in the leopard's habitat.
Where's heat maps, please? Hold on, I'm an idiot. Stand by. Ah, here we go.
As you can see, we already have one cooler in there. Let's pop some more down and get as much of the habitat as chilly as we can. Luckily for us, this habitat already has power, but you'll need to make sure of that in the future. Just so you know, if any part of a habitat is powered, then the whole habitat will be powered.
That's nice. Oh, I can't. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, okay. Sounds like there's a train station nearby. Oh, I think that is a train station. Okay. What are they going about? Jeez. No, does it only affect the area in... No, it does not. Okay. It also affects the area outside the barrier. That makes sense.
You can find heat maps for all sorts of helpful things, so do be sure to explore them and make good use of them. It'll take a little while for the temperature to adjust once you've
Sure
added
it
coolers
has.
or heaters, but now we've got the coolers in, we can address the leopards' terrain welfare. You see, what the leopards really want in here is snow and rock, so let's make that happen.
That blur motion is just driving me absolutely nuts when it's zoomed out. I don't know if that's just a visual issue on my end or what, but...
Now then, all of that should give you a pretty good understanding of how to make animals happy. So I'd like you to go and check on all the other animals in the zoo and fix up any issues with their habitats. That'll increase the average welfare of the animals across the whole zoo. And that average welfare is a very important statistic. Now, to quickly see how all your animals are doing in the zoo, you should go into zoo management and then into the animals section. As you can see, this list shows you the animals' overall welfare.
Poison frogs!
So if something's amiss, then you can quickly pop over to them using the locate button. Right, I'm off for a cuppa while you make sure all the animals are well looked after.
You're off for what now? Oh, here we go. Hello, I'm here now. Hey, they actually are included. So, this was something that people have been talking about that I did hear a small bit about, which is protesters. Yeah, there it is. I'm glad that they actually did, in fact, include that into this version of the game. Can I actually... Hold on, what is it? There we go, okay. Okay, maybe a tad bit bigger. Aha! Is that better for you guys? No, that's a palm tree. Sorry, it's a foxtail palm, specifically. There we go. So all bracken or just bracken number 1, specifically? There is no bracket number 2. Fantastic. Good job, game. Glad to see we're all on the same page here. Okay, yeah, no, it's just all bracken, apparently. Probably should make that a bit more clear when they release the full game. Oh, it's just, it means just bracken in general. And then the foxtail. I just clicked on the foxtail. That's not... Oh, that kind of sucks. Tropical Africa. try that again. There we go. Let's go ahead and put some proper trees around here. Is there no low brush? I guess there's these. Fair enough, I suppose. Okay, so you are... I'm not too worried about that just at the moment, because that's not really something I can do much about. Food enrichment. That's under habitat. This is a ring-tailed lemur. There we go. Oh geez, this is massive. Mistakes might have been made. Obstructed by what? Oh, hold on. Why is this so big? Move you way out over here for a moment. How is this obstructed in any way? Ah! Now are you happy? I can't for the life of me figure out what in the world is obstructing that thing. Can I move you? No, I cannot. I suppose that's fair enough. How is this in any way obstructed? Good lord. Come on, game. If I move you over here... Man, this is really finicky in this game. Good lord. What in the world just happened? Also, why is this still floating? Must be just graphical glitch. Graphical glitches abound! Really? By what? Now what? How many of these things do I have? Jesus. Christ above. I still can't put that down. Okay, hold on. Wait, hold on. How long have I been doing this? Okay. I still got a bit more time. Oh, right, I have to... Oh, that's interesting. Ooh. Oh, I see now. That's for the... Right. That makes sense. Protesters still there? No, they are not. Hallelujah. Can you deal with that, please? I don't know what it is, but please deal with it. No? Okay, fine. Is this a big enough space for you? Oh. Hey, there we go. Any better for you guys? Yes, it would appear so. So I will let you guys be you for the moment. Alright. On to the next problem child. We have Timberwolves? Since when do we have Timberwolves? What is going on? Oh, you don't have any sort of enrichment. Good lord. Oh, that's what that was earlier. That should help with that one. Just check on this dude. Yeah. Hippos! What's up? You look pretty bored. Too few adults. Let me just... Is that true with you? Yes, it is. Cool, so I'll go ahead and get some... Well, that's a bit of a problem. I'm gonna do food enrichment first, then, I suppose. There you go. Yeah, food enrichment. Okay, cool. Sadly, I can't do anything about that. Does it want 70 or 75? 80. Well, that's a bit of a problem. Alright, Grace, anything out? Oh, hello. for you guys? Is that a race? It is a... Ah, clever. Really? I should move you out to over here. Lovely, thank you. Yeah, I think it's already coming. Cool. Yeah, kind of figured that might be a problem. It's not an issue of sleeping space.
Not bad. Not bad.
Oh, there we go.
I think it's fair to say that you've passed the first part of your training with flying colours. There's still lots more to learn, but we'll have to head to another one of Bernie's zoos for that. If you want to grab your passport, we'll head off, shall we?
Well, there you have it, folks.
Sounds like you've got the whole zoo purring away nicely. Well, purring, grunting, screaming, booming.
Guess we get the joke.
All the appropriate noises. I guess I was right to hire you, huh? Don't tell her I told you, but Nancy wasn't sure you'd even last the morning. So, we're happy this is working out. And Nancy owes me a foxy coffee.
Nice callback.
As strange as it seems, considering we just met, when I look at you, I feel like you're the child I never had. After the one I did have, obviously. But you see, zookeeping's not for my daughter. Don't get me wrong. Emma absolutely loves animals, but she set her sights somewhat higher. Wants to save the entire planet. I'll just settle for saving a couple of species. And maybe having a type of frog named after me.
So anyways, that folks. Oh no. Oh, they are, yeah. Sorry, I just need to watch this. It's super important that I watch this adorableness. Aww. There's that. That's a kind of cute little entranceway. Yeah, I'm working on it. Okay. Whoa. Okay, that was some magical mumbo jumbo that just happened there. Okay, I'm curious now. I want to see. I want to see where you're taking this thing. Where are you taking this thing? Pathfinding. Could use a little bit of touch up. So yeah, overall, it's very clearly a beta. So my impressions of this game, from what I've played so far, is that it's definitely on its way to a very, very, very good game. It needs work. I know that this is a beta version, but the pathfinding leaves a tiny bit to be desired. The way that they kind of glitch out sometimes when they're having to stop and turn around and that kind of stuff. It needs a small bit of work. Not a massive amount, thankfully, but it does seem to have a small bit of necessity of reviewing. Which is a good way of putting it. Just magical. Oh, there it is. Aha. Oh, is there a secondary one that also needs... Oh, there is. Oh, good lord. Wait, there's a wait, is this just a... Oh, it is. Okay, I was like, there's a trucking game? Can you drive it around? But apparently not. Kinda sucks. Oh well. It's terribly inefficient. Well, considering the fact that we only have A, one of them, B, we don't really use it for anything. Yeah, that's probably a good thing. I would assume. So yeah, game needs a small bit of work, but it does seem to be not too bad, all things considered. I do like that they did, in fact, fully include the train that we saw in the trailers and teasers and that kind of stuff. And that it seems to be using pretty much the same system and definitely the same sound effects as the previous Planet Coaster's train. There is supposedly going to be, I don't know if we have access to it yet, but there is supposed to be a secondary one, which is going to be a like a Jeep. I don't know if that's added in the beta yet. I don't think so, but I mean overall everything seems to be very nice. They seem to have done a very nice job, at least for a beta. As a full release, no, but thankfully it's not. It's just the beta. So yeah, overall I enjoyed this. Let me know down in the comments section what you guys think of this. I don't know if this is the first one you guys have seen, but let me know what you guys think of the game so far. And with that, I shall leave you. As always, I've been No Rails Gaming if you're on one channel, or DJ Zelix on the other. And yeah, hope to see you guys soon in another video. Bye.